Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like.
The night whispered secrets as rain drummed against the window, each drop a reminder of what had been lost. Clara's heart raced with the weight of betrayal. The walls of her small apartment felt as if they were closing in, suffocating her beneath the memories of a love she once cherished. She stared at the photo on her bedside table, their faces glowing with joy and love, oblivious to the cracks that would soon be their undoing. It had only been a week since she last felt his warm embrace, yet each tick of the clock resonated like a taunting echo of his absence. Dylan had promised to return by nightfall, but it was midnight now, and the darkness outside mirrored the void inside her. Each moment stretched agonizingly, her mind racing with ominous thoughts. Where was he? Had he found someone else? The thoughts slashed through her like a knife, igniting the flames of suspicion that had been smoldering since the last heated argument. Underneath the surface of their relationship, layers of deceit lingered, heavy and toxic. Clara ran her fingers through her hair, pushing away the tumult that churned within. She thought about that night, a party filled with laughter and drunken revelry, where they had once made promises to each other. But as the night wore on, she had caught glimpses of Dylan slipping away, his laugh too loud, his gaze too wandering. And there was Sophie, her best friend since childhood, with a smile that could disarm anyone and a charm that always caught Dylan's attention. What happened to trust? Clara whispered to herself, her reflection in the mirror staring back, weary and broken. Suddenly, the shrill ring of her phone pierced the silence, jolting her from her reverie. With trembling hands, she answered, her breath caught in her throat. Clara? It's Sophie. I need to talk to you urgently. Urgent? Those words hung heavy in the air. She could hear the unease in Sophie's voice, the slight tremor that spiked her anxiety. What's wrong? It's about Dylan. You need to sit down for this. Every instinct in Clara screamed for her to hang up, to run and hide from whatever truth was about to surface. But she was frozen, a deer caught in the headlights of inevitable betrayal. Just tell me, Sophie, what's going on? There was a pause, and Clara could almost feel the weight of what her best friend was about to reveal. I saw him with someone, just last night, at the bar downtown. Clara, I wish I were lying to protect you, but it was with another girl. I think they were close. A cold, jagged shard punctured her chest, as if the very air had been sucked out of her lungs. Close? What do you mean, close? Her voice trembled with the effort to keep the rage from spilling over. They were laughing, kissing. I didn't know how to tell you. I thought maybe it was just a mistake, something casual. But I think it's serious. I'm so sorry. With each word, Clara felt herself unravel. The image of Dylan with another woman taunted her, consumed her thoughts. Replaying the moments of their relationship, she realized there had been signs all along, whispers of betrayal nudging her subconscious. How could he do this? How could he betray her trust, her love, without a second thought? You need to confront him, Clara. You deserve to know the truth. Truth. A bitter, twisted word that echoed in Clara's mind as she hung up the phone, her hands shaking with a tempest of conflicting emotions: betrayal, anger, sorrow, and a dark, simmering desire for revenge. Clara stood, feeling the ground shift beneath her. She had always been the anchor in this relationship, steadfast and true. The love that she had nurtured had given way to something insidious, something disguised as affection but hidden in shadows. She needed a plan, a way to uncover the extent of Dylan's infidelity. As daylight crept into the horizon, illuminating her apartment with a cruel glow, Clara found her resolve. She would not confront him blindly. She needed proof. Her heart thudded as she considered the risks. But the thought of remaining a victim felt unbearable. No, she would turn the tables. Days passed in a blur of routines. Clara returned to work, putting on a mask of normalcy, laughing when everyone else laughed. But inside she was a storm, brewing and brewing. Each encounter with Dylan became a game of chess, a calculated dance where she was desperately trying to outmaneuver the betrayal that hung between them. Dylan had no idea of the storm that was building. Every time he smiled, every caress of his hand felt like salt on an open wound. She watched him, studied him, searching for signs of guilt. Was he slipping? His late nights became more frequent, excuses flowing like water from his lips. "I'm working late, Clara. You know how it is. They want me to take on this project, and it's a lot of pressure." She nodded, her heart hardening. "No problem, Dylan. I understand. Work is always important." The words tasted bitter, each syllable laced with the grief of a love teetering on the edge of destruction. Little did he know she had a plan. Clara began to track his movements, a dark thrill coursing through her as she slipped into the role of a detective. After a week of surveillance, she found herself outside the very same bar Sophie had mentioned. A chill ran down her spine as she peered through the window. Her heart pounded as she spotted Dylan laughing, yet again with that same woman, Kira, a striking blonde with icy blue eyes and an air of mischief that Clara had always found threatening. A surge of rage bubbled up inside of her, threatening to explode. She could see the way Dylan leaned in, the way he brushed his fingers against Kira's arm. The heartache and betrayal coiled like a viper within her, and Clara felt a knot tighten in her throat, choking back her fury. They were flirting shamelessly, a scene that felt like a dagger twisting in her gut. Betrayal ignited a fire in her, burning away any remnants of the girl who once blindly trusted him. She was no longer the victim, and as her eyes narrowed, she envisioned a revenge so sweet it was intoxicating. But for now, she needed to gather evidence. She pulled out her phone, capturing the moment. Each click of the shutter felt like a nail driving deeper into her heart, binding her to this new reality. The days turned into weeks, and her plans slowly began to take shape. With every encounter she documented, her resolve strengthened. She decided to confront Dylan on the night of Sophie's engagement party. She had thought of making it a night of celebration, but beneath the surface lay a sinister agenda. As the evening approached, Clara chose her outfit carefully, something sharp, stunning yet haunting. She wanted to cast a shadow of doubt in Dylan's mind as he saw her radiance and realized the storm that was brewing within. As she stood before the mirror, she could feel the familiar pang of love for him, battle against the resentment and betrayal that had festered within her. The party was a cacophony of laughter, music blending with the clinking of glasses. Sophie smiled brightly, radiant in her engagement dress, unaware that her best friend was a tempest ready to unleash. Clara mingled, holding her head high, and each smile felt like a mask she wore to conceal the turmoil beneath. Finally, the moment arrived. Dylan wandered through the crowd, his eyes sparkling, still blissfully unaware of the impending storm. Clara took a deep breath as their gazes locked, the air around them crackling with intensity. She cleared her throat, allowing the crowd to wash away before stepping closer, her voice low and laced with an edge he couldn't ignore. "Dylan, can we talk?" His brow furrowed with confusion, but he nodded, leading her away from the crowd into a dimly lit corner of the venue. Clara could feel the lingering joy of the party fade, replaced by a heavy tension that hung between them like an entangled web of lies. As she spoke, words flowed with the deliberate precision of revenge. "I know about you and Clara. I saw you. I know you've been cheating on me." The shock on his face was evident. Pain and disbelief warred together, filling the space between them with a haunting silence that threatened to consume them both. But Clara had no intention of backing down. With each word, she pulled on the threads of deception that held their relationship together, weaving a tapestry of betrayal that could no longer be ignored. As the truth sank in, Clara saw anger flash through his eyes, but it was mixed with panic, a man, unmasked and exposed, ready to lash out. "Well, Clara, not another excuse. You broke my trust, and now you're going to feel the consequences." Each word reverberated with a chilling finality as she turned the tables on him, summoning every ounce of strength. and clarity. In that moment, she was no longer the heartbroken girl shattered by betrayal. She was a woman on a mission, fueled by pain, yet empowered by the prospect of revenge. Clara knew the war had just begun, and she was ready to fight, determined to take back control over her life and reclaim her power. One sharp betrayal at a time. The atmosphere in that dimly lit corner was suffocating, charged with the energy of unspoken truths and raw emotions. Clara's heart raced, not out of fear, but with the exhilarating rush of taking her destiny into her hands. Dylan's expression morphed from shock to anger, and finally to desperation. He stepped back, trying hard to regain his composure, pushing back against the unrelenting tide that threatened to drown him. "Clara, you don't understand. I was going to tell you. Things just got out of hand. Out of hand?" Clara's voice sliced through the air, filled with a mix of disbelief and pain. "You thought I wouldn't find out? You think I'm so naive?" Her tone bore the chilling weight of complete betrayal, dangling in the air like a sword ready to fall. She noted the way his bravado faltered, the cracks appearing in his confident facade. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this," he stammered, his unwarranted confidence quickly dissipating. With a predatory glare, she pressed on, stepping closer, invading his space. "Then what was it supposed to be, Dylan? A secret? A lie? A secret?" A humorless laugh escaped her lips, bitter and piercing. "You're going to deny it all to my face?" Dylan's composure slipped, and Clara could see the guilt creeping back in his expression, tangled with regret. The air thickened between them, palpable tension swirling like a dense fog. He turned away, knowing it would be futile to argue against the mountain of evidence she had collected. Clara leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a threatening whisper. "I won't let you leave with just an apology. You think you can destroy what we built together and just walk away? I have something planned for tonight, and it involves more than just you getting a good night's sleep." Her voice was a low amber of fury, simmering on the brink of combustion. Dylan blinked, confusion flickering across his features. "What do you mean?" It was the sparks of her resolve igniting in fury. Clara pivoted sharply on her heels and scanned the party, bright with laughter and oblivious joy, unaware of the impending storm about to descend upon their celebration. "Come with me. You're about to witness the truth of our world." With that, Clara strode boldly toward the center of the room, her determination palpable. The chatter faded into silence, and all eyes turned towards her as she approached the microphone. Heart pounding in her chest like a war drum, she felt the weight of every eye scrutinizing her. She had rehearsed this moment in her mind countless times, but now that she was here, adrenaline surged through her veins. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice ringing clear across the room. "Can I have your attention, please?" Muffled whispers filled the air. Curious glances exchanged among the guests. Dylan moved to her side, unease radiating from him as he realized what she was about to do. "Clara, don't. This isn't the time." "Not the time," she cut him off, feeling an intoxicating rush of power. She held up her phone, snapping a picture of Dylan and Kira laughter suspended in a frame of betrayal, a time capsule of broken promises. The guest leaned forward, intrigued. "What you are about to see is a glimpse into the wreckage of so-called love." She paused, letting the tension thicken as she prepared to unleash the wrath of revelation. "This is my boyfriend, Dylan, and this is his new friend." With shaking hands, she placed the picture on the large screen behind her, the crowd gasping collectively as the image lit up, showcasing Dylan's infidelity in stunning clarity. Anger roared behind Clara as she watched the realization knock Dylan backward, his face paling as it dawned on him the extent to which she was willing to go. "You thought you could play games with my heart, didn't you?" she said, her voice rising sharply, each word laden with malice and justified rage. Faces turned in a kaleidoscope of shock and disbelief as the tender threads of connection began to fray. Dylan stepped forward, raising his hands defensively, his eyes darting around the room, imploring some mercy from the crowd. "Clara, you've got this all wrong. It wasn't Save it. Everyone here deserves to know what kind of person you truly are, she shouted, her voice echoing in the eerie silence that had settled over the venue. Guests shuffled uncomfortably, shifting in their seats as they absorbed the weight of betrayal that loomed over the engagement party. From the rear of the room, a familiar face emerged: Sophie, her best friend. A picture of betrayal herself, standing frozen in a state of shock. Clara's heart twisted at the sight. Another scar carved into her heart, but it fueled her resolve rather than weaken it. You all cheered for love, yet here we are, Clara continued, pointing a finger at Dylan, who stood rooted to the spot, the color draining from his face as the clarity of his mistakes finally washed over him. "Oh, Clara," he said, pain aching deep as he attempted to reason, still hoping for a glimmer of mercy. But she smirked, relishing the power coursing through her veins. With shattered illusions hung against their relationship and friendship affecting what once was, Clara leaned forward and whispered, "You burned our love like a match to paper, and now I'll be the fire that consumes everything you thought you had." Dylan trembled as the crowd erupted in a mixture of shock, excitement, and sympathetic whispers. But Clara was too lost in her tide of heartrending power to notice as the party turned into a whirlwind of her revenge. The electrifying urgency of revenge seared through her with each heartbeat that echoed within the room. As she polished off her vengeance, she knew that one last dagger remained to strike. The crux of their betrayal had yet to be uncovered. Clara cast one last glance over at Sophie, a demanding fallout unreadable in the low light. She grabbed her phone again and raised it high, capturing the moment of reckoning as revenge pivoted on an uncomfortable axis. "Sophie, come here," Clara commanded. The air grew thick. All eyes were on Sophie, who approached hesitantly, bewildered by the sudden change of tides in this frantic story. "What have you in store now?" Sophie murmured cautiously, her eyes darting between Clara and a distressed Dylan. "You need to understand this isn't just about him," Clara retorted, glaring daggers at Sophie. "I have proof of you two, of everything you've done. Betrayal is a disease that infects everything it touches, and I won't let you or him act like you're the victims in this." Clenching her phone tighter, she prepared to reveal the evidence that would serve as the final blow. "Your betrayal is captured in the moments leading up to tonight. And trust me, it's a sight to see," Clara smirked menacingly. "You should have thought twice before treating our friendship like a passing breeze." Clara pressed play, unveiling a video recording from a few days earlier where Sophie, laughing and giggling, had plot twists laced with disdain. The whispers of betrayal unfolded as confusion gripped the room with petrified, widened eyes. "You thought you could take everything from me, and I'd stay silent?" Clara's spine tingled with the excitement of bringing this entire facade crumbling down. The energy shifted as gasps filled the air, and betrayal crystallized into sharp focus. Clara stood tall, feeling every silenced heartbeat brewing in the mix of uncertainty within her haven. Dylan could only watch from the periphery, realizing he had no power to intervene at this point, standing as a broken man, possibly reeling from the unveiled perspective of betrayal laid before him. And in the echoes of the engagement party laced with pain, Clara turned and met the stunned faces of their friends, each one burdened with the weight of truth. It was as if they were witnessing a rebirth and funeral all at once. The moment, reward, and consequence found their resolve against the backdrop of sharp, searing betrayal. Yet, as she took one last look at Dylan, scarcely holding together the remnants of his shattered dignity, she felt the remnants of the bond they once shared fade into dust. His disheveled figure standing in stark contrast against everything they had built together. Only moments before erupted an unforgiving stillness that quelled the chaotic resolve swelling around her. As the silence stretched, a cruel, sharp loss pierced the air, tainting the evening with an unmistakable finality. Clara's heart thundered against her chest, and she knew she was irrevocably altered, not merely as the girl scorned by heartbreak, but as the architect of her revenge. Clara made her exit, unconcerned with the chaos left in her wake, feeling the adrenaline spike with every step. Stepping outside, Francesca's crisp autumn air filled her lungs, revitalizing her spirit. She was reborn from the ashes of betrayal and heartache, ready to grasp the power that had been ripped so violently from her. But as she glanced back once more toward the party, her heart swelled with venomous satisfaction and peace. "You should watch where you're going, Dylan, because the road you've paved has only room for one. And that's me," she murmured to herself. No longer a victim, Clara allowed the final line to crystallize in her mind as she whispered softly, "Enjoy the ride you made, because I'm done being the passenger."
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like.